How's it going, everybody? Today we have a video for you on and if you're German, please don't get offended, the Kanonenjagdpanzer 105. Hope I got that close. For those of you who know me, I'm not really a Casemate TD guy. I like my turrets, I like my gun depression, I really like my gun handling. But when I saw that this came with the 10.5 centimeter board cannon L7, I knew I was really gonna like this. And if you're thinking L7, that sounds awful familiar. Well, it should. The L7 is on the Dragonlance C, it is on the Centurion 7-1, and it is on the Centurion Action X. And unlike the Lands and Sea, we don't have a down-tiered version of the L7 on this tank. We actually have the tier 10 version of the gun. Statistically, this version of the L7 is going to be a cross between the Centurion 7-1 and the Centurion Action X. We have the same rate of fire, well, 0.2 of a round a minute slower than the Centurion 7-1, but rather than having the 210 pin Hesh that you have on the 7-1, that you have on the Dragon, that you have on the FE4202 at tier 10, we actually have the 330 millimeter pin heat round, that comes out of the Centurion Action X. So really great 268 base pin, which is what's going to separate us from the Lands and Sea, not to mention about 0.7 of a round a minute faster with better accuracy than the Lands and Sea. But we get that full 268 millimeters of pin with our base APCR that you don't get in the down-tiered version that they put in the Dragon. Now, if you think I'm really concentrating on this cannon, it's because I am. I will argue till I'm blue in the face. The L7 is my absolute favorite medium tank gun in the entire game. It just, the way it handles, the way it fires, great pin, great shell speed. I'm a fanboy. The only real nerf that this cannon took when it came down for this tank was the HE pin. The Centurion 7-1, the Action X, they all have 102 millimeters of pin with the HE round. This thing only has 52 or 55, somewhere in there, but they halved it. So that's the only real loss that you get from what you're used to if you like the Action X, or you like the 4202 or the 7-1, or even the M48 patent. The American version, the M63, is effectively the L7 statistically, at least as far as the game's concerned. The other thing that we have going for us with this tank is camouflage. You might have noticed that most TDs on this map, when they're trying to support this fight that's going on in A5 and A6, is that they end up sitting back at the church, which is fine. Most of the time you have enough render range to see everything you need to see at the fight, but the camouflage on this is so good that we were able to move up a ways and really make sure that nobody can peek that ridge without getting inside our render range, and then we just let the .34 accuracy that trolled us with the engine deck there, we just let that accuracy go to work and let our camouflage hold us in closer to the fight than maybe we would be in a larger tank, say an E4 grill. Obviously those aren't on tier, but you see most tank destroyers on this map are hiding back a half a square behind us at the church, and the camouflage of this tank really lets us get in tighter to a battle than we definitely want to, because this thing is a few layers of tinfoil with a big motor and a big cannon. There's almost no armor. I think it's 30 millimeters just about everywhere, which means even when we're top tier like we are here, you get seen by a tier 6, you're gonna get pinned. So you got light tank speed. As you can see, we're running around here what, in the 50s, nearly 60. You got phenomenal camouflage, and you got a really big gun. And note, what are we, 200 meters away, camo net's up. I do have all the camo skills, but that mutant had no clue we were there. He could sit there, wait. I knew the bog horror was one shot, so I held that, waited until I could hit him and get a gun out of the game before I gave up my my stealth factor there. So now, this is the other half of the Kanonenjagdpanzer. Speed. You're essentially a light tank without a turret. So you got a ton of speed, no armor, and you transition kind of middle-late game and late game like this. And we're just going to range around and get in people's faces. You know, we popped over the hill, shot the mutant, run over the hill, shoot the freedom, and it's nice because you have a big gun, you have a lot of camouflage, and at the same time you have a lot of speed. This is just a deadly combination that, as long as you can keep from getting shot, can put up really big numbers. You can do lots of good things in this tank. So right here, perfect example. Thunderbolt pins me again. I don't think he pins me again, but that's because he doesn't get a shot off. And now he's got 49 hit points, and I see the arty, and I get a little greedy, and it ends up costing me any more damage here. But as you can see, you're never out of the fight with this tank. It obviously is going to be a bit, well, situational, I guess would be the right way to put it, because you'd obviously, you know, Himmelsdorf or any city brawling map, you're probably going to struggle a little bit more, just because your armor is your camouflage. As long as you're not seen, you're happy. If you do get seen, it's usually a bad time. So obviously always think about, when you're playing this, you're thinking about positioning, you're thinking about, you know, where am I going to be? Like what I did with the mutant and the bog horror. I know I'm going to get spotted for this shot, so I'm going to make sure that the shot is the one that's going to count, because you're going to have to reposition. In a bit of beginner's luck, this was actually just my 4th game in this tank, so you know, I don't know that this was the best show, and it ended up not being the best show, but I liked it because of the way, you know, I was able to show both phases. You've got the strong cannon sitting in camouflage, really just putting the DPM to work. And then late in the game, you can flex your speed and go with an improvised light tank role, one that you definitely want to be comfortable with. You still have the limited gun traverse, so it's a sneaky light tank play, but it works. You can definitely do it. You can make it happen. Now, transition into the second game. I chose this one, and by the way, the reason this video is long is because this goes the entire 15 minutes. But I thought it was worth showing because I wanted to show you how you can play this tank from behind the 8-ball. So this one starts off kind of slow, ends up just, it's, I don't even know that it's a slow game. It's more of a methodical game where, again, just like I was saying a minute ago, always trying to position myself for the next shot, you know. And again, that first game I showed you was my 4th. This one might have been my 12th. I was still trying to learn this tank, trying to figure out, you know, maybe push the boundaries a little bit, which you're going to see right here doesn't work out terribly well. Doesn't, I mean, I don't die, but I definitely looks like a rookie play, and it ends up working like a rookie play. But again, everybody knows somebody's going to be up here, and I'm trying to figure out just how far I can push a camo on this, which isn't very far. If you're going to put a light tank on the boat ramp in D5, you're never going to get very far, you know. But again, I'm learning, I'm pushing this thing just to see what I can get away with. And in this scenario, I can see on the map, and I even back out to look, the Hollandhoon's sticking up, because I wanted to turn my tank again to try to shoot the SU, but I could see those outside my Travers. I ended up not, in kind of just sitting here with my thumb in my hand, debating on how aggressive I wanted to be. And then, obviously, I finally decided to go for it. Can't do anything, so I'm just going to abandon that not so great idea and come over here and see if I can't help the team out. I'm still really not sure what everybody was doing here. All of our heavies are sitting in the back, sniping. We have 2 mediums up front. This has the feeling of a classic loss. And I, again, was trying to position myself to help the team that's actually being aggressive. And, you know, style points, whatever, right? So what happens if you don't look where you're driving? But I'm positioning myself to try to help the team that, I'm not going to say deserves the help, but these guys are at least moving forward trying to put pressure, unlike this cluster back here. He was just kind of waiting on the Reds to come to him. But after taking that shot, again, like I said earlier, your camouflage is your power, and it's your armor. So getting spotted and detected constantly is a recipe for disaster, and somehow we're invisible. Even though we're running around in the wide open in a tinfoil tank wrapped in paper mache. Nobody wants to shoot at us, which is fine with me. But here I am. I finally positioned myself somewhere to play. Casemate goes up, round goes out. Freedom doesn't spot me. So, you know, you'll see in this game, I sit up quite a few times, and as soon as I hear the camo net, that whoosh, that's when I pull the trigger to maximize my camo value, to go with the camo skill, camo paint, green thumb, and muffled shot that are on this crew. It's really good for the Borzig, the tier 8 texture tank, because it's so invisible. You know, I keep this crew around. The skills probably aren't great for the tier 10 that they're in, but they're great for the Iron Rain, they're great for the Scorpion G, they're great for this. So even though they're not the greatest, and I think it's probably the Yagaru or Grill crew, one of the two, I keep them around just for playing these tanks because they are so good at maximizing camo. So again, this is just the game you play, especially when you really shouldn't be doing what I'm doing here with this tank, which is essentially trying to seal the flank by yourself. I got the Oho sitting in G3. Artie's looking over my shoulder. Yeah, he is. I mean, he's firing. He's doing his job. I mean, he's definitely supporting the weak side. But you can see the scoreboard. We've already had a suicide and we're down 4, so we're 5 behind at this point. But, you know, it's all about positioning and, you know, not giving up till it's over. I've seen some amazing clutches by people better than me, and this is one of my more favorites of myself, especially considering I'm just not a Casemate TD player. And let me tell you how much that cannon damage right there ends up costing. It feels like it does by the time the game's over. And this game is definitely a candidate for maybe one day we'll get reusable consumables like PC has, because I need it. I end up needing it. You'll see why. So I know the Freedom's over there, and I've cleaned up the Fury. And he's kind of playing really conservative because he knows I'm over here, but I need my OHO. And so this is, we've gone from stealthy, sneaky TD to I'm a light tank. And when I said earlier, you need to be comfortable with the whole limited traverse thing, that's why sometimes when you stop, this thing will just spin like it did right there. It loses traction, slides sideways. So you got to be able, on your toes, be able to recognize that. As lightweight as this thing is, it's not just going to roll to a stop nice and pretty, sit there, stare. They do slide sideways. It's happened to me on multiple occasions playing this thing. So just, like I said, be aware of it. And this, I don't know what this was. Just a few moments of indecision that gladly they don't cost us too terrible much. So again, repositioning, I'm trying to save the Mod 1 and whoever else is over here with him, VK. Well, that didn't work. And I wasn't looking at the map. Now the Freedom has decided he's going to be more aggressive. And this was a tactical error. I thought I would be cute and try to get somewhere where I had more terrain cover instead of just eating the shot. And this is why that gun cost us. He knocks out our motor, and now already takes care of it. So I was trying to hide and get in a little better position to brawl him. Ends up costing me my engine because he would have pinned me from the face, but he probably wouldn't have knocked my motor out. So now again, we're back down, 4 tanks here, and it's Casemate, delete. And this is how you have to clutch a game in this thing, is maximize what it has, which is the camouflage. You can get away with a lot. And just like the SU from earlier, I know he's going to spot me if I twist to shoot him. And I might be able to get one of these two to pull out in front. And I ended up deciding that it's worth the risk. A nice 2.38 second aim time. This gun is awesome. I mean, it is the L7 that you see in those high tier mediums. It's a phenomenal gun. I absolutely love it. But right back to what we were doing. Now I'm doing improvised light tank while playing it as a TD at the same time. I'm spotting for the OHO, spotting for the Arty, and at the same time, I don't have any armor, I don't have any health, I don't have motor. So just playing it really conservative, not making mistakes. I mean, that's the biggest thing about this game, really, not even this tank, is most of this isn't, it's not Call of Duty. It's not who can run out and make a play. It's who can not make a mistake. And moreover, who can punish the other team's mistakes. And this is one of those mistakes. This is a horrible tactical error on their part. They're all attacking us from one side. We're just 2 guys. They're just 2 tanks. Somebody should have been, and probably, I don't know who, they're all kind of slow, but they should have been coming around behind us, forcing us to look into 2 fields of fire. But because they chose not to do that, we were able to keep all 3 of our remaining guns facing one direction, at least for the first bit here, and take a bit of extra damage off of them without really any fear of being flanked. Once this guy in the Proto showed up, I wasn't too worried. I wasn't worried at all, actually, about being flanked from behind. And now I can really tunnel vision in front of me and look at their entire team. And I thought the OHO was bailing to get a flank here, but he actually played this really, really well. The Freedom ends up doing what I said he should have. And again, note, camo net, as soon as it goes up, fire, nothing. Just absolutely beautiful. But the Freedom ends up making a flank that I thought he should, and the Oho's back there. He's going to clean him up while Artie and I continue firing over here. And the IKV, a little misplay on his part, didn't get low like he should have. Ends up giving me a second shot. So I'm looking. I think I'm about to have to go after the Freedom, but I'm being patient here, trying to. And then the Proto's showing a lot of aggression. So is the T-32. So I'm gonna do, take the easy shot. Artie takes a great shot, gets a big hit on the Proto, and now this is way more manageable since Freedom's gone. Oho's still actually pretty healthy, and the Proto's one shot. Artie tries, it's a good effort, and I thought maybe we were going to get pushed harder, and so I was going to fall back and try to get a better shot, a cleaner shot, but Oho pops up, gets rid of him. So now I'm going to pull right back where I was, and I want to say that T-32 is just right in front of me. No, that's right. Oho hits him, gets him to back up behind the rock, and I clean him out. So we went from 5 tanks behind, what I think it was, 4 or 5 minutes ago, to we cleaned up their entire team. Mono Extreme, if you actually end up watching this, man, you played that beautifully. Absolutely great job, dude. And same thing to the Artie. You did a pretty good job. You took the shots we needed and ended up clutching this. But again, so motor out, this thing really isn't bad on flat ground. As you can see, I'm still doing nearly 70, where you end up hurting. And I turned this in to do the light tank routine in case Artie was sitting maybe in D9 waiting to shotgun down the ramp. That's why I chickened out. I thought maybe I'd get a quick spot and the Oho would take care of him for me. But you can see flat ground, the thing will still get some speed, but it really loses all its torque when the motor's damaged, and you climbing the hill like a Churchill or a Diamondback, it hurts. Definitely hurts a bit. But I mean, all told, and again, I'm not a Casemate TD guy. I really don't like Casemate tanks. I much prefer turrets. To be honest, I mean, it's just my play style. Even TDs, I prefer turrets. You know, I like the pancake, which everybody calls it the baby waffle, but it's a little flat version of the waffle, and the flat waffles are pancakes. So I always called it the pancake, the tier 9 Waffentrager TD, the Borzig. I just like my turrets. I can play the glass cannon play style, but man, this thing, there's something about it. It's just absolutely awesome. It's just the right gun, it's the right camo value, and really greedy play trying to get the last kill. Ends up getting me killed, but almost 5,200 combined, which really is phenomenal considering, you know, the motor was out and just playing a defensive game trying to whittle the red team away. So, like I said, the reason I wanted to show you all this is to show how you can maximize that gun with the camouflage and really drag a game out and force the red team into making mistakes, which is what we did. I kept falling back and bringing reds out into open territory and then farming them. So it was a great game. And again, I want to make sure I got names right here. Come on, flip it over. Yeah, Mono Extreme, Sparehawk 78. Both of you, if you end up watching this, you played great, especially there at the end. Mono, you putting the gun where it belonged with the Oho. Same thing with the Artie. just putting shots where we needed them. It ended up being a great 3-man clutch, and you guys did awesome. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video, enjoyed watching me run around in this thing. So, till next time, we'll see you next time.